Let me guess, you've been training jiu-jitsu for a little bit of time. You might even have a blue belt, or you've even achieved some stripes on your blue belt. You might even be a purple belt, but now you might feel a little bit like you're an imposter, like some other people are beating you up. Maybe you're not doing as well as you think you should. So this is known as the imposter syndrome. So in today's video, we're going to address maybe some ways that this happens, how you can maybe avoid it if you're an up and coming jiu-jitsu student, and some ways to pull you out of feeling like this. So stick around. In this video, we're going to talk about it right now. What's up, guys? My name is Chasen Hill. I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. I've been teaching and training jiu-jitsu now for 14 plus years. So if you guys like all things jiu-jitsu, this is probably a pretty good channel for you guys to check out. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button down below. Hit the bell icon so that way you guys are notified whenever the latest video comes out. I know most of you that are watching are not subscribed, so make sure you do me a favor and do that right now. So getting into this imposter syndrome, what does that really mean? Well, imposter syndrome, in my experience coaching students and where I experienced it, was usually a little bit later in my jiu-jitsu career. Usually there's this thing called the blue belt blues that you'll experience earlier in your jiu-jitsu career as a blue belt that I did a whole other video about that you guys can check out right here. But this imposter syndrome normally comes a little bit later. Maybe you're a late blue belt or you're a purple belt. And what happens is that you know that you have a lot of information and knowledge and you've developed some skill, but when this person comes in and just totally wrecks your world that's not been training for as long as you or is not necessarily as skilled as you feel like, man, I'm an actual imposter. I'm not actually this belt. I don't feel like I'm this way. And it can really lead you to feeling discouraged and interrupted into your jiu-jitsu journey. Personally, this is why I think a lot of jiu-jitsu students quit, is because no one ever talks to you about how to overcome these things or if it's normal to experience. And the first thing I want to say is that it's absolutely normal. A lot of jiu-jitsu students experience this, especially if you're not a full-time athlete. The one thing that competing a lot and being an athlete does is it really validates your skill because you're competing against other people all the time. So you're able to see that you're progressing. But for a person that's training maybe a couple days a week, 2 or 3 days a week, sometimes that can be a lot harder of a metric to examine. I think I did a whole video talking about 3 ways to focus of your progression metrics and some ways that you guys might have never thought about determining if you're progressing that you guys can check out right here in more detail. But this is a big way that you guys can overcome this imposter syndrome, is really understand what's actually happening and some things that can cause it. So one of the main things that I know normally causes this imposter syndrome is usually when a student who is maybe of a certain age, maybe they're 40 or 50 years old, and then they become maybe a purple belt. And then you have someone else who's maybe a younger student, maybe in their 25 or 30s, and they're a blue belt. Well, what can often happen is that the younger, maybe more athletic person just totally destroys or goes to town quite frequently on the older person. And so the older person now feels like, even though that they're a rank above, that they're no longer at that rank. One thing I want to introduce you guys into is something that I call the 2010 rule. And I know a lot of people have different ways of talking about this. I've heard some other people, but this is just the way that I think about it, where if someone is 20 pounds heavier than me or 10 years younger than me, that's essentially like fighting up a belt rank. So if I'm the 50-year-old and I'm fighting a 30-year-old and they're only 1 belt less than me, a lot of times that might be just as challenging as fighting someone your own skill that's the exact mirror image of yourself. And when you can understand that, that makes you realize that you're not an imposter. You're just dealing with different physical challenges. I hate in the jiu-jitsu world that a lot of times the solution to fixing everything is kind of the being tough and being macho and just train harder and just suck it up. Yes, like that can produce results, but that doesn't make anyone actually feel like they can do anything about feeling better and being encouraged to train more. So we want to understand the reason why we're feeling that, and that's usually because you have a poor metric of determining if you're progressing. One of the main ways you can overcome this imposter syndrome is really understanding that the 2010 rule and also having a detailed training focus. When you can actually have a detailed training focus, you're able to determine your metrics and progressing a lot better than just randomly guessing what to train or only determining if you're tapping somebody or getting tapped as your only way of progressing. So I think this is a huge problem in the overall arcing thing of jiu-jitsu, is that we don't teach students actually how to determine if they're progressing, which leads to this imposter syndrome. So let me know, what do you guys think? Are you an imposter? Have you ever heard this imposter syndrome before? If you have, let me know down in the comments below. I know that I've talked to some students and I've experienced this with some students that they think that the instructor's only promoting them because it's purely tied to a financial capability. They're like, well, my instructor made a mistake at giving me my belt, and they would never take that away from me because they don't want to lose money, or they only promoted me because they didn't want to lose me as a training membership. And I'm not saying that that's never happened, but man, how insecure are you guys with your own thing to think that someone actually doesn't care about you? Like, you have to trust that the instructor that's giving you that belt is actually knowing that you're ready for that. Who are you to actually question if the rank that they're providing you is actually the rank that you are? Now, you have to understand that everyone gets promoted in a different way. A way that I might promote my part-time hobbyist blue belt versus my full-time competitor young athletic blue belt might be way two different perspectives. That makes it seem like, well, it's not fair. Everyone should be held to the same way. But the reality is everyone's journey is not the same. Your journey versus someone else's journey is going to be two completely different things. So I need to appropriately coach you or promote you or give you advice based upon your own journey. Just because you think that like this coach is giving you a belt, it's not always financially tied. They truly might think that you're ready for that belt. You have to trust them to lead you, but it's your own insecurities and own self-doubts because maybe you're being crushed by the younger guy, or this person who's a little bit less skilled than you is beating you up. Who cares? If you trust your coach, then they're giving you that belt. Time will fix everything. I can't tell you guys how many people used to crush me on a daily basis when I came into the gym. Whenever I first started training, I was training in a lot more of a grindhouse gym. I was training with people who are way bigger than me and way better than me, and I got beat up left and right. And these were people who are blue belts and purple belts. But now I have continued to train, and I'm not a world champion, and I'm not a high-level competitor, but I know for a fact that I'm better than those people because you know what? They quit. So I've gotten to see this because recently I've had some of these people come back into my jiu-jitsu life. They've kind of come back to the gym. And I'm talking about these people who are purple belts and they used to terrorize me. But now I'm a black belt, and guess who does the terrorizing? Me. Truly learning and staying on the mat fixes a lot of problems, but we can't just fix the problem by saying, train harder, get over it, suck it up. You guys need to take action steps and change the way your mindset is about how you view jiu-jitsu, or else you're going to be stuck in the same rabbit hole over and over again. I recently saw an article that said that 90% of people that ever train jiu-jitsu don't even make it to a blue belt. And then less than 1% of people, once they get their blue belt, ever make it to black belt. That's a huge problem in jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is structured as a whole as a giant learning problem. And it's because we don't convey these ideas to students. We don't teach them how to actually learn jiu-jitsu. We just fix it by telling them that they need to buy another instructional or train this other technique or train this or train that, versus actually letting them know that their journey is unique to them and teaching them how to overcome these humps. But a lot of times jiu-jitsu students, they don't want to feel like they're a burden. They don't want to feel like they're a problem. They feel like that their situation is special and unique and everyone else gets it and I don't. But like I said, I'm here to tell you guys that this happens to everybody. This happened to me hard at brown belt. I thought that I wouldn't really feel like a brown belt because I was only one step away from a black belt. But then once I kind of had some talks with my coach and reworded this mindset idea, it really kind of helped me grow into that. So you guys need to understand that kind of doubting yourself is going to be part of the jiu-jitsu journey, but being able to kind of talk with somebody and talk with your coach about it and take tangible actionable steps like learning what to train, developing a training focus, learning strategies on how to use your training partners. All of the thing that this channel is like been made up of will help you overcome that imposter syndrome. So just know that if your coach is giving you that belt, don't think so negatively of yourself. Don't be self-deprecating and think that they're only doing it for a financial dollar. You need to have someone that you trust in your court. And if you don't trust them, find a new coach or find another resource that you do trust. That's the whole basis of my coaching program that I have, is it's another resource that students can use. They trust me, they trust my opinion, they trust my feedback. They know I'm just not after them for a dollar, that I'm actually going to give them help. Now they have to invest in themselves because it's not free. My time's not free. because usually people who only want free things don't value anybody else's time. You have to be willing to invest that and show your dedication into it, because I don't want to waste my time putting all my energy in you if you're not going to do what I ask. So it has to be a two-way street. So that's just how my brain works, and that's what I can help you guys with in your jiu-jitsu way. So if you guys are wanting more direct help, make sure you book a call with me down below. We can do a free strategy session that I can let you know all about my program that I have. I'm even going to give you guys some helpful advice. So worst case, even if you just book a call and we just chat and you get to meet me and I maybe help you figure out where to go in your training journey, it's probably worth it. Then if you decide that you want to work with me further, we can do those next steps. So make sure you book a call down in the description below. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.